When the Dome at America Center opened in 1995, it was meant to keep NFL football in St. Louis for the long haul, but by the early 2010s, it was clear the stadium was falling behind. City officials scrambled to propose upgrades, desperate to keep the Rams from leaving. Plans for renovations, legal battles, and last-minute negotiations all failed as the team ultimately bolted back to Los Angeles. Now, the stadium sits as a reminder of that struggle, still in use but with an uncertain future. So what went wrong? And what's next for one of St. Louis's most iconic sports venues? On January 4th, 2016, the St. Louis Rams made a groundbreaking announcement. They were leaving the city and filing for relocation to return to LA for the 2016 season. As you might expect, the news sent shockwaves through fans in the football world alike. This came after team owner Stan Kroenke's 29-page relocation application, questioning whether it could sustain teams like the Cardinals, Blues, and an NFL franchise. But how did it even come to this? In 1988, the St. Louis Cardinals, not to be confused with the baseball team, relocated to Phoenix, leaving the city without an NFL team. Determined to bring football back, St. Louis proposed a domed stadium that would also expand its convention center, securing public bond funding in 1989. 2 years later, the city applied for an expansion team, coined the St. Louis Stallions, and began stadium construction in 1992. Designed to blend with the city's architecture, the dome featured brick, limestone, and red sandstone tinted concrete resembling pre-World War II buildings. With all this work, however, the NFL awarded franchises to Charlotte and Jacksonville instead. St. Louis finally secured a team in 1995 when Georgia Frontier announced the Rams' relocation from Los Angeles. Initially rejected by NFL owners, the move was later approved under legal pressure. As part of the deal, St. Louis guaranteed that the dome's amenities would remain in the NFL's top 25%. The Rams played their first 4 home games of 1995 at Busch Memorial Stadium before debuting in the dome on November 12th, defeating the Carolina Panthers 28-17. Initially called the Dome at America Center, it was renamed the Trans World Dome in 1995 after Trans World Airlines purchased naming rights. Following TWA's acquisition by American Airlines in 2001, it briefly reverted to its original name before Edward Jones Investments secured naming rights in 2002. A $30 million renovation in 2009 added LED video scoreboards in premium areas like the Bud Light Zone and Clarkson's Jeweler Club. The stadium's color scheme was also updated to match the Rams' blue, gold, and white. In 2010, the Rams' locker room was relocated, and new HD monitors were installed throughout the venue. A new AstroTurf system was introduced, allowing the field to be stored underground. Despite these efforts, the Rams' time in St. Louis was nearing its end. So what was the biggest issue with the dome? Many believe it was the lease the Rams signed in 1995. At first, it seemed like a solid deal, but under the agreement, the dome had to stay in the top 25% of NFL stadiums through 2015, with reviews every 10 years. If it fell behind, the Rams could leave, penalty-free, or switch to a risky year-to-year lease. Early on, the dome was considered adequate, but over time, complaints piled up. Even after renovations in 2010, it ranked among the worst in the league. A 2008 Sports Illustrated poll named it the NFL's worst stadium, citing poor tailgating, affordability, and atmosphere. In 2012, Time magazine ranked it as the 7th worst major sports venue in the US. Critics called the exterior an urban eyesore and the interior too cavernous to hold sound, and this was even during the Rams' best seasons. By 2005, the dome had already fallen out of the top tier. The Rams had the option to leave, but instead accepted the $30 million in renovations to stay. Even so, both team and city officials knew the clock was ticking. Without a major overhaul, the Rams weren't sticking around past 2015. Fan interest also collapsed. From 2008 to 2015, the Rams consistently ranked in the bottom 5 for attendance, finishing dead last in 2015 as relocation rumors swirled. In 2012, the Convention and Visitor Center proposed $48 million in improvements, including a 947-space parking garage funded publicly, with the Rams keeping game day revenue. The team rejected it. A revised $124 million plan featuring a 3-story entrance and additional suites, with the Rams contributing $64 million, was also shot down. The Rams countered with a $700 million proposal to rebuild the stadium with a sliding roof and a massive 4-sided scoreboard, but there was no plan to fund it. Without an agreement, the case went to arbitration in 2013. After this, it was ruled that the Rams' $700 million proposal was the only way to meet the lease's first-tier requirement. Meanwhile, speculation of a return to LA grew louder. On January 31st, 2014, reports surfaced that Rams owner Stan Kroenke had purchased 60 acres in Inglewood, California. The site had been slated for a Walmart supercenter, but instead, it became the future home of SoFi Stadium. On January 5th, 2015, the plan was confirmed: an 80,000-seat stadium, a 6,000-seat performance venue, and a massive commercial and entertainment district. St. Louis scrambled to respond, proposing a new downtown stadium on the North Riverfront, but it was too late. On February 24th of that same year, the Inglewood City Council unanimously approved Kroenke's project, clearing the way for construction to begin by year's end. The NFL and the Rams dismissed St. Louis's last-ditch effort, arguing it fell outside the agreed-upon lease and arbitration process. And since SoFi Stadium was privately funded, there was nothing stopping the move. The Rams played their final game at the Dome on December 17, 2015, defeating the Buccaneers 31-23. Edward Jones quickly pulled its sponsorship, and the stadium was once again just the Dome at America's Center. Back in 2021, the NFL and Rams owner Stan Kroenke agreed to pay $790 million to settle a lawsuit filed by St. Louis interests over the team's 2016 relocation. The lawsuit, filed in 2017, accused Kroenke and the NFL of misleading St. Louis officials about the team's plans and violating league relocation guidelines, seeking over $1 billion in damages. Courts repeatedly ruled against Kroenke and the NFL, ordering the release of financial records and rejecting attempts to move the trial out of St. Louis. And with the Rams officially gone, people began to question the Dome's future. In November 2018, professional football returned to St. Louis. The XFL announced a new team, the Battlehawks, set to play at the Dome. It wasn't the NFL, but it was something, and the fans showed up. At the first home game in 2020, a packed house of just under 30,000 watched the Battlehawks beat the New York Guardians. The XFL's deal with the CVC included a $300,000 upfront payment and $100,000 per game, with ticket revenue going to the league while CVC kept concessions. By 2023, support had only grown. The Battlehawks home opener shattered the XFL attendance record, drawing 38,300 fans, proving St. Louis was still a football town. But while the XFL was helping fill the Dome, long-term questions remained. Could St. Louis land another NFL team? And if not, how would the Dome stay relevant? In 2024, the St. Louis Regional Sports Authority proposed a $155 million renovation, aiming to modernize the aging venue with upgraded lighting, sound systems, and video boards. The goal was to make the Dome competitive for major events like NCAA Final Fours and college football bowl games. But as of February 2025, there's one major problem: no funding. St. Louis County officials support keeping the Dome operational, but have no plans to finance renovations. According to the mayor's office, $280 million of the settlement I just mentioned goes to the city of St. Louis, including $30 million to expand the Dome, $169 million to St. Louis County, and $70 million to the St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Authority. Supporters point to places like San Antonio, where the Alamo Dome upgrades helped land the 2018 Final Four, bringing nearly $200 million to the city. But unlike the Alamo Dome, St. Louis's stadium faces bigger hurdles: outdated sightlines, an awkward seating layout, and a reputation as one of the worst fan experiences in sports. So what's next? The Dome remains in limbo. It's currently owned by the St. Louis Regional Sports Authority, but it faces an uncertain future. Over the past few years, it's become a hot topic of debate in St. Louis. Many ideas have been tossed around. Should the city invest in a major renovation, sell the facility to a private partner, tear it down altogether, or simply leave it as it is? Without a clear direction, some see it as a lingering reminder of missed opportunities. Yet, with all this said, there's a silver lining. The city is on track in 2025 to host its highest number of conventions at the Dome in a decade. A potential sign that even amid uncertainty, a brighter future may still be possible. At Buildcore, we're building America, one story at a time. We cover some of the most impressive and headline-grabbing projects across this great country, and with your help, the channel has grown to over 30,000 subscribers in just over a year. With that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.